Thank you for joining me today. I want to talk to you about Healing Revolution and Infinity Matrix stem cell therapy. I've received this therapy. It's been life-changing for me, for my wife, for my daughter, for my mother and father-in-law, for my dad, my brother, and so many people I've seen across the United States of America. And really what we're seeing people experience is they're regaining hope. And hope is spelled H-O-P-E. And what we're seeing is healing of people everywhere and healing of practically everything. Now, what we're talking about is a new approach to our health, and that is instead of just being reactionary, we're talking about regenerative wellness and stem cell therapy, which is the wave of the future. But I do want to say this, and that is, although this is the wave of the future, our company, Healing Revolution, has been doing this in the United States, administering stem cell therapy for over 8 years to over 320,000 people. So although this is considered the wave of the future, so many people are receiving this therapy and having their lives changed. And all of us face a similar problem as we age, and that age is called degeneration. Degeneration comes from the root word degenerate, and it means to deteriorate both physically or mentally, to go into disrepair, to fall apart and break down, or to be less than your former self. The solution to degeneration is regeneration. That means to build, to grow, to repair, and even to create new tissue. So instead of just managing the decline, you can actually reverse aging and degeneration in your body through this regenerative therapy. It's amazing. Now, the diverse population of stem cells is found in the human umbilical cord. These are your body's one and only internal repair system. And again, I want to emphasize the source of these stem cells. You have a healthy mom, you have a healthy baby, and once that baby is born and that baby has received all the benefit it possibly can from that umbilical cord, there is left within that umbilical cord a superabundance of stem cells yet unutilized that we used to just throw away and waste. And now we have the science, we've unlocked the way to extract those stem cells and be able to deliver the same regenerative wellness you got the day you were born later on in life, which is pretty amazing. And somebody might ask, well, what does Infinity Matrix stem cell therapy do in my body? Here's what the therapy will do if you choose to receive it in your body. Number one, those cells are immediately within 3 minutes, they're going to circulate through your whole body. They're going to pass the blood-brain barrier. They're going to go through your heart and lungs and all throughout your circulatory system. They're going to build, repair, and even create new tissue. The second thing the cells are going to do is they are massively anti-inflammatory. So they are effective in reducing inflammation permanently in your body like nothing else. And the reason they're so powerfully anti-inflammatory is because they're actually repairing the breakdown in your body that is creating all the systemic inflammation. So rather than putting a Band-Aid on a bullet hole or covering up a symptom, it's actually bringing regeneration to your body at the cellular level, winding back the clock of time of the degeneration you've experienced through age-related wear and tear, accidents, problems, any kind of health issues that you've been facing in life. The third thing that these cells do is they are immunomodulatory. Immunomodulatory, meaning they modulate or adjust the immune system. This is so powerful because we have some people suffering one type of immune problem, and what that immune problem is their immune system is suppressed. In other words, it's not optimally functioning. These cells are antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. And if your immune system is suppressed, they're going to elevate your immune system to the optimum level. But some people have the opposite problem. Their immune system is hyperactive, and it's actually causing friendly fire on your body. Your own immune system is attacking your own cells. And however your body is being attacked determines how these symptoms manifest. So some of the diseases that are a byproduct of autoimmune diseases could be considered diabetes, Hashimoto's, Crohn's disease, fibromyalgia, and there's over 100 autoimmune diseases people suffer from. When people receive this therapy, what will happen is these cells will go in and they will turn the immune system switch off back down to the optimum setting so that your body stops attacking itself, and then your body has the chance to heal and repair the damage that's been caused by that friendly fire. And so we see tremendous results from people that receive this therapy that have been suffering with those kinds of problems. The next thing these cells will do is they are what we call angiogenic, or they perform angiogenesis. And what that means is if you have any part of your body that doesn't have good blood flow, any tissue in your body that doesn't have good blood flow, that tissue cannot be healthy because the life of the flesh is in the blood. What does that mean? It means the oxygen and nutrients come to your cells through the bloodstream, and the carbon dioxide and waste are carried away from your cells via the bloodstream. So without good blood flow in an area of your body, there's no way for that part of the body to be healthy. Wherever Infinity Matrix finds poor blood flow, angiogenesis, or the creation of new arteries and veins, will happen so that that tissue now has a healthy blood supply, and therefore that tissue can regenerate and can heal and repair, which is wonderful. And this can affect people in so many different ways. Think of somebody who has poor blood flow to the feet and maybe suffering the risk of getting an ulcerated sore, or losing a limb because of poor blood flow, or someone who's had a heart problem and now they have the ability to build, repair, and create new tissue, create new arteries and veins to service that tissue. So impactful to be able to perform angiogenesis in the body. This is part of the regenerative power of Infinity Matrix. Now, one of the things we need to understand that's very important is the fact that stem cells decrease drastically in number as we age, and decline in functionality as well as we age. So as we age, we're losing a tremendous amount of stem cells, number one. And what do? They're our body's one and only internal repair system, which is why this matters so much. But the second thing is the cells that have survived the years with us, they don't work like they used to. Sometime in their 40s, maybe 50s, they start to get tired, lay down, kind of take a nap, and they don't perform the work they used to. So we have less cells working less powerfully. So let's look at this in depth and understand this. So the day we're born, we have 26 trillion wonderfully made cells. One cell in 10,000 cells is a stem cell. But as time marches on by our late teenage years, we've actually reduced our stem cell count. We've divided it by 10, and that 1 in 10,000 number is already dropped to 1 in 100,000. So it's a tenfold loss. But this keeps going as we age, and by the time we're 30, we're down to 1 stem cell and 250,000 other cells that we have. So think about that. That's literally 1/25 of the healing and regenerative power we started with, which is why a lot of people around 30 years old are starting to feel a little bit different, maybe not quite as energetic, maybe starting to experience a longer recovery time from working out or an injury. But this keeps going, unfortunately, and what happens is by the time we're 50 years old, it's actually dropped to 1 stem cell servicing 400,000 cells in our body, or 1/40th what we started with. And then if we're fortunate enough and blessed enough to live to age 80, at age 80, it's all the way down to 1 stem cell and 2 million cells. But remember, it's not just the loss in number. The stem cells we have left are way less effective. They're not doing as much work. And so what happens is sometime probably around between 40 and 50, let's say 45, our bodies are starting to run so low on stem cells that they have to make bad decisions. What do I mean by bad decisions? They have to say, well, we don't have enough stem cells to keep repairing the whole body. So what do we keep healthy? Do we keep the heart healthy? Do we keep the brain healthy? Do we keep the organs healthy? Do we keep the bone and joints healthy? And this is why so many people between 40 and 60 are starting to show signs of a check engine light going on in their body, or they start developing what we call degenerative diseases in their body. And it's simply a fact that their body no longer can repair all the tissues because the body has run low on stem cells. The beautiful thing about this is now someone can receive Infinity Matrix through Healing Revolution. And when this happens, you can receive a powerful dose of umbilical cord stem cells therapy. It's the same therapy you received the day you were born through the umbilical cord that was hooked up to your body. So now what we lost, we can get back later in age. And somebody might ask, well, what happens when I receive this therapy? Number one, you're going to receive a massive dose of living, vital stem cells, the best cells in existence. Number two, those cells are going to massively multiply for 90 days, doubling initially every 28 hours. The cells double in number for a period of time, reaching peak numbers 90 days after you receive therapy. But the third thing that's so amazing is Harvard did a study and observed that when you receive these new stem cells, within a matter of 8 hours, all of your older stem cells are regenerated, and they actually look and act like minute one umbilical cord stem cells, like the ones you just received. So you not only get a massive dose of stem cells, they not only massively multiply in your body, but the third thing that happens is they regenerate all your old stem cells that aren't working as well. You end up with a massive regenerative army running through your body, healing, repairing, creating new tissue. And this is why people who receive this therapy many times report, I feel 20 years younger. And sometimes, many times, people are experiencing the damage and the manifestations of that wear and tear they've experienced over the last 20 years rewind like a time clock and disappear out of their body. Because if you deal with the root problem, the manifested fruit will go away, which is so wonderful. Now, you might ask, well, are there other types of stem cells? There are other types of stem cells. And really, the only other stem cells that people typically receive are what we call autologous stem cells. And instead of receiving them from an umbilical cord, these would be your own stem cells, which may sound good. But think about this. If you have a problem in your body that's not healed, what has failed you? You probably already guessed it. Your stem cells have. Number two, to receive the stem cells from your body requires a surgery where they're going to drill into your hip and extract stem cells from your pelvis or from your thigh bone. And the problem with this, there's many problems. Number one, it's very expensive. It's a process, a long process to go through. And the biggest issue is one of the world's leading researchers of stem cell therapy, Dr. Ernest von Schwartz, MD, who is a cardiothoracic surgeon and teaching professor at UCLA Medical. He's one of the world's leading authorities on stem cells. He says that autologous stem cells, or your own stem cells, are 5,000 times less powerful. So they cost more, they require a surgery, and they're 5,000 times less powerful. That's why I would never consider receiving autologous stem cells when I could have something 5,000 times more powerful, also that's less expensive to receive. Great benefits for receiving umbilical cord stem cell therapy. So these are human umbilical cord stem cells we're talking about from Infinity Matrix and Healing Revolution. We call them Infinity Matrix because they are what we call pluripotent stem cells. undifferentiated cells. What do I mean by that? These are raw building materials for your body. In other words, these are non-assigned cell. If you have a brain cell, that's a neuron. If you have a heart cell, that's a particular type of muscle. But your body literally has 220 types of cells inside it. A pluripotent stem cell can become any one of those 220 cell types. When you receive these cells, your body can go, oh, you had a heart attack years ago and you're missing some heart tissue. It can turn some of those cells into heart tissue if it so chooses. Or it could turn them into bone and joint, or it could help regenerate an organ. Whatever it needs to regenerate, your body has the raw building materials restored to be able to do that. Now, the other thing is we have an extremely pure product because we extract the umbilical cord stem cells from the cord blood of the umbilical cord, but we're able to separate all the blood out so that all you receive is stem cells at a 99.95% purity. This means we don't have to do any HLA matching, or we don't have to match the cells to any type of blood type, because since there's no blood in there, umbilical cord stem cells have two unique properties. They are immune privileged and immunoevasive. What that means is your immune system will not attack and kill these stem cells. It basically ignores them. And when they come into your body, they come onto the operating system of your body, and your body tells them what to become and what to do, and that's exactly what they do. It's like they have no free will of their own. They're just waiting to receive instructions from your body and to become whatever your body wants them to become. So, as I said earlier, we've lost the ability to repair our body because we've run out of stem cells sometime probably in our 40s. And by receiving these cells, now our body can repair the areas that it wants to repair because it has the stem cells available now to do so. We can inject these stem cells intravenously. Takes about 4 or 5 minutes through an IV push, painless, basically like similar to getting a blood test. These are customizable for each individual, so one size doesn't fit all. So each person can get a customized recommendation from our medical team, our doctors and nurse practitioners, who are going to recommend the appropriate amount of therapy for the level of degeneration and problems going on specifically in your body. These cells are potent, robust, consistent, and everything we're doing is based on accepted medical practices. Now, the advantages of these cells is anyone can receive them because they're immune privileged. They're the best anti-inflammatory, and they have the best immunomodulatory capacity, and they have the optimum ability to stimulate regeneration. And these can be administered more than one time in your lifetime. Now, most people, 84% of the time, get an average of one therapy of 2 cc's of therapy one time in their life. So one dose of 2 cc's of therapy one time in their life on average, and have such a phenomenal result. That's the only time they ever get stem cells. But maybe you're like me, I'm 50, and I think at some point in the future, I received these cells 2 years ago, some point in the future, I'll want to get another dose of therapy. And because, if we can fog a mirror and our heart is beating, in other words, if we're alive, our body is burning through stem cells. So maybe, I got my first dose of therapy at 48 years old. Maybe sometime in the future, 10 years or whatever, I'll want to get more therapy and experience an additional boost of healing and regeneration in my body. So that's available. The question is, what happens when you receive this therapy? So quickly, I'll tell you what happened to me. So at 45 years old, I started experiencing degeneration in various parts of my body. I'd walk into a room and I'd go, why did I walk in here again? And some of my short-term memory was not as good as it used to be. I noticed more aches and pains in my body. But the worst problem for me was my right hip at 45 years old started to consistently hurt. 3 years in, by 48, I was 6 out of 10 pain every day of my life. So I was suffering from chronic pain. And what ended up happening is on the 21st of April in 2022, at 48 years old, I received one dose of 2 cc's of therapy intravenously in my arm, as I mentioned. And within 6 hours, my energy level went through the roof. I felt like instead of 48 years old, I felt like I was about 30 years old. And within 6 days, all of the pain, and I woke up on day 6 after receiving therapy, and I had absolutely no pain in my hip. That's been 2 years ago, and I still have absolutely no pain in my hip. And I'm so thankful for that. I noticed also a big increase in strength. The day before I got therapy, I was working out at the gym for about 3 months consistently. And I noticed in 1 week, my bench press went up 15 pounds. So something happened that made me a lot stronger in just 1 week after receiving therapy. Also, my cardiovascular output massively increased. What do I mean by that? Well, the week before I got therapy, I was doing this exercise bike that had this program. And when you would do this, it was a digital program. So every time you do it, the race you do is the same length and the same difficulty. And the way you measure your success is you race against another guy on the screen called the pacer. Well, the week before I got therapy, I beat the pacer in that race by 3 minutes and 25 seconds, which isn't necessarily good. It's just a measurement. The week after I got therapy from Infinity Matrix, I beat the pacer by 11 minutes and 15 seconds. And this is like on a 20-minute race. My heart rate was the same both times. I couldn't believe what happened to my heart and my circulatory system in 1 week's time. Since then, I went to my eye doctor, and he said, your eyes look so young. I have absolutely no aches and pains. All the brain fog is gone. I have the energy of someone in their 20s or maybe 30 years old, not somebody that just turned 50 2 years later after I've received that first therapy. And so it's been absolutely amazing. My wife had her rotator cuff in her arm that was torn regenerate in 5 days without surgery. She had 5 years of neuropathy in her feet. And within 3 hours of receiving therapy, all of her neuropathy was gone. My father-in-law had skin cancer that fell off his arm within 2 weeks of getting therapy. My older brother received therapy. He lives on a golf course. He could no longer play golf because of damage in his shoulder. He received the therapy. His shoulder regenerated. Now he can use his shoulder in golf again. I could keep going and going, but I want to show you some slides and x-rays of people that have received this therapy and had outcomes. So this is my friend Shirley, and Shirley had stage 4 end-stage cancer. And we don't claim to heal or treat disease. This is a medical allograft that allows your body to heal itself. But she was in a terrible condition. Top left of this slide, you can see her distended abdomen. That is actually her fully calcified liver that's impossible to survive. On the bottom left of the slide, you're going to see they're performing thoracentesis, pulling 2 to 3 liters of fluid off her body. Once you get to that stage, typically it's 6 months to end of life. The far right of the slide, Shirley's dropped to 88 pounds. And a week after that, she rolled over on her side because she was fully bedridden. Her collarbone snapped in two because the cancer had metastasized to her brain, her bones, her lungs, and her liver. And so she was in terrifically bad shape. And 1 week later, all 3 oncologists told her she would not survive the weekend. And it's at that point she received 1 cc of umbilical cord stem cell therapy from Infinity Matrix, and 3 miraculous things happened to her. First thing was, contrary to her oncologist, she didn't die that weekend. That was the first thing. The second amazing thing that happened is within about 8 to 12 weeks, she got better enough, recovered enough, she was able to go home from the hospital. And the third thing that happened is this picture right here that you're looking at. This is Shirley about 7 years later. It's been about 8 years now. Her bone density is that of a 19-year-old teenage girl. In other words, all the bone density issues she had is gone. Her liver has fully regenerated. She has full energy, and she is just a walking miracle to see how this has transformed her life and health. It's like she never was sick, and it's just amazing to see the outcome of her receiving this therapy. Here is a knee joint that you can see on the left of these slides. You'll see where there's degeneration, and after receiving therapy, the outcome. So you can't see cartilage growth on an x-ray, but you can see the increase of the distance between the bones where the cartilage is grown in. So here we have, before Infinity Matrix therapy, 4.3 millimeters of cartilage in the joint with moderate arthritis and with meniscal tears. 90 days after therapy, the cartilage is almost doubled, the joint is regenerated, and the person is recovered. Here we have actually a severe bone-on-bone arthritis that would require typically a full knee replacement. However, this person received Infinity Matrix, and 90 days after therapy, they have a regenerated joint. This person had bone cancer in their right arm, and the bone cancer has eaten away the bone and the bone marrow. But 30 days after getting therapy, the bone is regenerated, and you can see on the x-ray there's no more bone loss, which is amazing. Here we have a spine with a gap that's gone. The disc space is gone. So this is bone on bone. Pinched nerves could result in all kinds of problems, but 90 days after therapy is the regeneration of the disc space. Here we have a case study where a lady, Dr. Sandra Seal, her kidney function went from 24% function. 31 days later, she was at about 80%. And after 5 years, her kidney function at 80%. She also had some other problems that regenerated that are just amazing. So we're seeing tremendous outcomes for people. People ask, is it safe? And why is it safe? Yes, it is safe. Everything we do is governed by the National Institute of Health, the Food and Drug Administration, American Association of Tissue Banks, and American Association of Blood Banks. And we meet and exceed all current FDA guidelines. The FDA wants us to do 5 tests on all the cells we harvest. We do 18 tests instead. They want us to observe the cells for 7 days for safety. We observe the cells for 14 days. And as I mentioned earlier, we've done over 320,000 successful therapies here in the United States of America. We're almost in all 50 states and expanding to other countries. So you can feel very safe in receiving this therapy to help activate regeneration in your body. And activating regeneration in your body is one of the greatest things you can possibly do to restore health and vitality. Science and research has outlined some different conditions where they have identified great results from this therapy. So as you look at this picture right here, you can see the list, but I want you to look at the bottom. These are pluripotent stem cells that can help any of the 220 cell types in your body. And so there's many other applications that these cells will provide to your body and things that they will deal with to help wind back the clock and restore health and vitality to your body. Some people ask, well, what will this cost? Well, if you went to Panama to get this therapy, it's $32,000. If you go to Colombia, it starts at about $40,000. And if you go to Tijuana to get it, it's around $60,000. We can deliver this right here in the United States of America. And the average therapy is 2 units, and that's $6,500. And that's a cash discounted price at time of therapy. 1 cc is $3,500. That's typically for a smaller person, but our medical team always makes the decision on who receives what therapy. We say this: before you operate or before you medicate, why not regenerate? This is one of the greatest things you can possibly do, is to activate regeneration within your body. And your body will triage the issues in your body, and it will prioritize the worst problems you have internally, and those cells will be directed to the most critical issues you have to heal, repair, and create new tissue, and then they run right down the list. So I tell everybody, if you're thinking about getting this therapy, please write down every single thing wrong with your body, because it becomes like a country music song played backwards. You get the house back, the kids back, the dog back, right? You get the money back. What happens is you start waking up in the morning, and instead of wondering what's gone wrong now, what hurts now, instead you wake up in the morning and you look at your list and go, where did that problem go? Where did that pain go? Where did that issue go? And you feel younger and stronger for longer. Instead of managing the decline, why don't you activate healing and regeneration within your body? Thank you for joining me. My name is James Fortune, and I endorse Healing Revolution and Infinity Matrix because it's changed my life and it's changed the life of my family, friends, and so many people I've met around the United States of America. Thank you for joining me. God bless.